Welcome to this session of July Monday Science Talk. My name is Dr. Masoud Moshrefi, Chief Science Officer, talking to you from Beresha Center for Science and Technology. Tonight we are going to have a very interesting subject that I'm going to share with you, and that is the role of sleep in weight gain. First, I will be talking about the physiological aspects of the lack of sleep and how it can predispose us to weight gain and certain diseases. Then I will discuss the role of circadian rhythm in our body and how important it is to keep it in sync with our body clocks for obtaining optimal health. And finally, I will give you some techniques that you can follow to get a good, healthy night's sleep. I sometimes get emails asking the question, what is it that I cannot lose weight despite my best efforts? Most people know they should cut calories and exercise more to trim down. At Beresha, not only we promote that, but we also provide you with the best scientifically formulated products that helps you to achieve your desired weight loss goals very effectively. However, there is now significant scientific evidence that another critical component to weight control is avoiding sleep deprivation. Sleep deprivation probably affects every process in our body. Our body is not wired up for sleep deprivation. The human is the only mammal that does this. New research may help explain why so many people who are chronically sleep deprived also are overweight, and it could be part of the reason why sleep college students, new parents, and shift workers pack on some pounds. The answer as to why sleep is so important for normalizing your metabolism has to do with its effect on your body's circadian clocks. We have a number of circadian clocks, not just one. In recent years, scientists have made a cool discovery. We have different clocks in virtually every organ of our bodies, from our pancreas to our stomach to our fat cells, etc. These biological clocks that control circadian rhythms are consortiums of interacting molecules in cells throughout the body. A master clock in the brain controls and coordinates all the body clocks so that they are in sync. The master clock that controls circadian rhythm consists of a group of nerve cells in the brain called SCN. That stands for suprachiasmatic nucleus, but let's just call it SCN now. The SCN contains about 20,000 nerve cells and is located in the hypothalamus, an area of the brain just above where the optic nerves from the eye cross. Circadian rhythms are produced by natural factors within the body. One of the chemicals in the brain that induces sleep is adenosines, which I talked about it earlier when I was talking about FIT. I encourage you to listen to the May Science Talk about the FIT product, which I discussed this topic in details. However, there are also signals from the environment that affect sleep. Light is the main cue influencing circadian rhythms, turning on or turning off genes that controls an organism's internal clocks. Hence, circadian rhythms are very important in determining human sleep patterns. The body's master clock, or SCN, controls the production of melatonin, a hormone that makes you sleepy. Since these nerves are located just above the optic nerves, which relay information from the eyes to the brain, the SCN receives information about incoming light. When there is less light, like at night, the SCN tells the brain to make more melatonin, so you get drowsy. So sleep is intricately tied to important hormone levels, including melatonin, which its production is disrupted by lack of sleep. This is extremely problematic as melatonin inhibits the proliferation of a wide range of cancer cell types, as well as triggers cancer cell apoptosis, which is the self-destruction of the cancer cells. When you pass, for example, through different time zones, your body's clock will be different from your wristwatch. For example, if you fly in an airplane from California to New York, you lose 3 hours of time. So when you wake up at 7 a.m., your body still thinks it's 4 a.m., making you feel groggy and disoriented. Your body's clock will eventually rest itself, but this often takes a few days. So, for example, springing clocks forward by an hour during the switch over to daylight saving time, I should say, traveling across time zones, staring at the computer screen late at night, or working the third shift are just a few examples of activities that can disrupt our daily or circadian rhythms. These roughly 24-hour cycles influence our physiology and behavior, and they are driven by our body's network of tiny timekeepers. If our daily routines fall out of sync with our body clocks, sleep, metabolic, and other disorders can result. While the exact mechanism of sleep are still quite a mystery, we are beginning to uncover the fascinating biological processes that take place during sleep. For example, during sleep, your brain cells shrink by about 60%, which allows for more efficient waste removal. Lack of sleep also increases level of a hormone, is a hunger hormone called ghrelin, and decreases levels of the satiety fullness hormone called leptin, which could lead to overeating and weight gain. Studies have shown that when people don't get enough sleep, they consume about 300 calories a day more than when they are well rested. Overall, most of the extra calories came from high-fat foods. So what happens is that if you take an extra 300 calories per day due to the lack of sleep, you would gain equivalent of 4.2 pounds of extra fat a week. Also, when people don't get enough sleep, they tend to snack more and do less physical activities. They eat more than what is needed to cover the energy cost of staying awake longer, especially at night, which again can lead to significant weight gain. Also, poor or insufficient sleep was found to be the strongest predictor for pain in adults over 50 years of age. So maintaining a natural sleep-wake cycle allows your body to keep all of these internal body clocks in sync, which allows your body to perform at an optimal level. On the other hand, erratic sleep schedules lead to a total desynchronization of the clocks within, which may be underlying the chronic diseases we face in our society today. It can pave the way towards metabolic dysfunction, resulting in weight gain, raising your blood pressure, altering hunger hormones, and disrupting your blood sugar, leading to type 2 diabetes. Timing, it turned out, is important, and we're not just talking about timing of sleep. The timing of your meals can also influence your metabolic function, and hence how effective your weight loss efforts might be. In one study, people who ate the largest meal of the day, which among this population was lunch, before 3 p.m., lost 25% more weight than those who ate their main meal after 3 p.m. This is despite the fact that the overall energy intake, dietary composition, estimated energy expenditure, and sleep duration was similar between both groups. Basically, the various systems in your body are programmed to perform scheduled tasks at specific times during the 24-hour wake-sleep cycle. And when you consistently act against these clocks, things start breaking down as your body tries to satisfy conflicting cues and signals. According to preliminary findings, losing as little as 30 minutes of sleep each night can disrupt your metabolism and leads to weight gain. In fact, each half hour of sleep depth incurred during weeknights raises the participants' risk for obesity by 17% and insulin resistance by 39% after 1 year. As you know, one of the main factors that leads to weight gain and diabetes is insulin resistance. Now let me explain how lack of sleep promotes insulin resistance. Insulin resistance occurs when your body cannot use insulin properly, allowing your blood sugar levels to get too high. The same applies to leptin, the hormone that tells your brain there is no need for more food. Both insulin and leptin resistance are precursors to type 2 diabetes. They're also risk factors in many other chronic diseases. Lack of sleep may increase your insulin and leptin resistance, thereby raising your risk of obesity, diabetes, and other metabolic diseases. Besides deteriorating your insulin and leptin sensitivity, sleep deprivation also increases level of ghrelin, a hormone that triggers hunger. This is what happens when you wake up in the middle of the night and you go straight to your refrigerator to eat some food. Too little sleep also impacts your levels of thyroid and stress hormones, which in turn can affect your memory, immune system, heart function, metabolism, and much more. Therefore, sleep disorders and obesity go hand in hand. I recently came across an interesting research article. In this article, the researchers have shown that if you take people who normally get a healthy 8 hours of sleep a night and then purposely wake them up 3 hours earlier every night, hormonal disturbance occur that results in putting on pounds. In just weeks, leptin, the hormone that tells the brain you are full, you can't stop eating, decreases by 15%. And ghrelin, the hormone that signals you are really hungry, you need to eat, that increases by 15%. So also, when you don't get high quality sleep or enough sleep, you are predisposed to postprandial hypoglycemia. Postprandial hypoglycemia is a descriptor of the timing of hypoglycemia, usually within 4 hours after a meal. In other words, you would have low insulin resistance when you sleep poorly. Therefore, it doesn't take much sugar or carbs for it to be easily metabolized and drop your blood sugar, which also makes you really sleepy during the day. So, if you're tired during the day, there is a good chance you need to get more sleep. Even if you think you can get by on 5 or 6 hours a night, you're not fooling your body. Sleep deprivation has the same effect on your immune system as a physical stress or illness. which may help explain why lack of sleep is tied to an increased risk of numerous chronic diseases. Sleeping less than 6 hours per night more than triples the risk of high blood pressure, and women who get less than 4 hours of shut-eye per night double their chances of dying from heart disease. Poor sleep can actually impact virtually every aspect of your health, as we have discussed so far. And the reason for this is because your circadian rhythm actually drives the rhythms of biological activities at the cellular level. Hence, disruption tend to cascade outward throughout your entire body. For example, besides making you more susceptible to physical aches and pains, interrupted or impaired sleep can also harm your brain by halting new neuron production. Sleep deprivation can increase levels of corticosterone, resulting in fewer new brain cells being created in your hippocampus. The hippocampus is involved in several functions of the body, including consolidation of new memories, emotional stresses, navigation, spatial orientation. And that's why when you don't get enough sleep, your emotional state changes. You become irritated easily. You have a hard time to remember things. And your sense of direction and your spatial orientations are affected. As I mentioned earlier, sleep deprivation also contributes to a pre-diabetic state, making you feel hungry even if you've already eaten, which can lead to weight gain and contribute to premature aging by interfering with your growth hormone production, normally released by your pituitary gland during deep sleep. And the good news is that getting back to a good night's sleep calms hormonal disturbances. No longer is your body fighting against you. Losing weight gets easier. Plus, a good night's sleep lessens fatigue, so you're more likely to exercise, which certainly promotes weight loss. So to make sure that your biological system functions effectively, simply sleep enough hours so that your energy is sustained throughout the day without artificial stimulations, with the exception of a daytime nap, which scientists believe you are biologically programmed for. People don't sleep well for several reasons, including restless leg syndrome and menopausal hot flashes. But the most serious chronic problem posing the greatest risk is sleep apnea. The sleep disorders happens because the soft tissues of the mouth and palate fall back, temporarily blocking the breathing passages. A major risk factor for sleep apnea is excess weight. One of the simplest predictors of sleep apnea is a neck size greater than 17.5 inches. While there are many approaches to dealing with the problem, including surgery, the real treatment for sleep apnea is the long-term weight loss. As soon as you lose 10 to 15% of excess body weight, your apnea improves and sometimes even disappears. We developed Boracia products not only to promote weight loss, but also enhance getting a good night's sleep. In my talk about FIT, I mentioned that when animals are awake for prolonged periods, a compound called adenosine accumulates in their brain, ultimately producing sleep. Once asleep, adenosine levels gradually declines. Adenosine's release is stimulated by nitric oxide. Arginine is the precursor for nitric oxide production in our body. Nitric oxide not only stimulates adenosine release, but it also stimulates human growth hormone, which plays a vital role in staying young. With age, the body naturally starts to produce less human growth hormone. Human growth hormone is released by the brain into the bloodstream during sleep, and its release is part of the repair and restoration function of sleep. In normal, healthy people, the major period of human growth hormone release is in the first period of stage 3 sleep during the night. If you remember, stage 3 is the deep sleep stage. Also talked about the role of nitric oxide in the blood-brain barrier, which allows the passage of water, lipid-soluble molecules, glucose and amino acids to the brain that are crucial to neural function and memory. It is also worth noting that adequate nitric oxide production by the vascular system and nervous system has been shown to improve and maintain better insulin sensitivity and therefore better body composition. While taking FIT helps you to get a restful night's sleep, it is also very important realigning your circadian rhythms to the natural rhythms of daylight and nightfall. Without this synchronization, aspects of your waking sleeping system will be working at the wrong time. So here I would like to discuss some of the tricks that brings your biological rhythm in sync, which will make falling asleep easier and promote body clock synchronization and optimal health. So consider these factors. First, get bright daylight exposure for at least half an hour or more each day. Your pineal gland produces melatonin. The pineal gland gets its name from its characteristic pine cone shape. It looks like a pine cone. It's also known as the body's third eye. This small gland controls your body's sleep-wake pattern. If you are in darkness all day long, it can't appreciate the difference and will not optimize your melatonin production. Your circadian system needs bright light to reset itself. 10 to 15 minutes of morning sunlight will send a strong message to your internal clock that day has arrived, making it less likely to be confused by weaker light signals during the night. More sunlight exposure is required also as you age. Then in the evening, dim environmental lights and avoid the blue light wavelengths. This includes light, bulbs, TVs, and more electronic gadgets. Insomnia is one of the most commonly reported sleep disorder, which is affecting an estimated 10% of Americans on a chronic basis. Brief exposures of insomnia affect about 35% of adults. Insomnia is often a side effect caused by engaging in some form of activity at a time when you should be preparing your body for rest. Using electronics and watching TV is among the most common insomnia-inducing activities. As a general rule, you need to avoid light-emitting technologies for at least an hour before going to bed, or you may find yourself tossing and turning, unable to fall asleep. Normally, your brain starts secreting melatonin between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., and these devices emit light that may stifle that process. When it's time to go to sleep, make sure your bedroom is dark. Installing blackout shades for this purpose or use a sleep mask is very helpful. The slightest bit of light in your bedroom can disrupt your body's clock and your pineal gland's melatonin production. Even the tiniest glow from your clock radio could be interfering with your sleep. So cover your radio cover your radio up at night or get rid of it altogether. Move all electrical devices at least 3 feet away from your bed. You may want to cover your windows with drape or blackout shades. If this isn't possible, wear an eye mask. Also install a low wattage yellow, orange, or red light bulb if you need a source of light for navigation at night. Keep the temperature in your bedroom no higher than 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Many people keep their home too warm, particularly their upstairs bedroom. Studies show that the optimal room temperature for sleep is between 60 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Take a hot bath 90 to 120 minutes before a bedtime. This increases your core body temperature, and when you get out of the bath, it abruptly drops, signaling your body that you are ready to sleep. Also, certain drugs can affect sleep, so you may need to discuss the timing of your medication with your doctor as well. How about drinking caffeine-containing beverages? Caffeine can affect people in different ways. For some, having a cup of coffee even few hours before they go to bed can affect their ability to fall asleep at the designated hour. Also keep in mind that many teas contain caffeine. Also do some sodas and most energy drinks, they have caffeine. Chocolate, especially the darker varieties, is another source of caffeine that might affect your ability to fall asleep if you eat it in the evening. The other factor is eating too late at night. Besides upsetting your body clocks, eating too close to bedtime can also make you feel full and bloated, making it more difficult to fall asleep. At minimum, avoid eating an hour before going to bed. Like caffeine, nicotine is in its all forms also would affect your sleep pattern. It's a stimulant, so lining up too close to bedtime can worsen insomnia. Allowing pets in bed, while you might frown at the idea of kicking your beloved pet out of the bed, if you are having trouble sleeping, you may want to at least try it to see if it makes a difference. According to one study, 63% of people who let their pets sleep in their bed slept poorly. Well, I hope this information is useful for you to take into consideration when you combine a healthy weight loss program with Boracia product with a healthy diet, moderate exercise, and a good night's sleep. I think with that, it's time to wrap up our tonight's discussion, and thank you for your participation. I look forward to our next session of Science Monday in August. All my best to you all. Thank you again, and good night.